in a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Let's do this. Okay. Mm-hmm. Testing. Okay, so let's try that. All right. Oh, that's why I'm hearing myself. Okay, I still had the volume on. All right, there we go. So let's try this here. We do this. Oh, but I am kind of coming in a little hot. Okay, let's put that down there. All right. I know this is fascinating, everybody, listening to this. Fascinating, I tell you. Here. Hmm. All right, let's see here. See if this sounds a little less tinny. All right, we're going to grin and bear it. Okay, enough of that. We're going to kill that right there. I was wondering, because I was seeing people joining the show, and then I could not hear it. Like, basically, I kept seeing people like joining the show, and then like it went from high number of people joining the show, and then all of a sudden they all dropped off. And so I'm assuming they got on, they heard the show, and they were like, I can't even hear this guy. All right, I'm not watching this crap. The guy can't even do his show well enough to make sure that we can hear the show right here. So I don't blame him. I would not be listening either. So, but there we go. We got that going on here. So hopefully you guys can hear me just fine. So all right. So let's hopefully we get some people here joining. And you know what? I'm going to do this here real quick. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to get the show here. I'm just going to put a little disclaimer in the live chat. Okay. All right. All right. I know this episode is going swimmingly. I knew, like, when I got this new mixer, I'm like, this episode could be pretty interesting at the beginning of the episode here. So, okay, putting that in there. All right. So let's do that. That's good enough. All right, there we go. So I think I've done enough screwing around with the audio here. So anyway, Lethal Weapon. So yes, went and saw Lethal Weapon, and I was just floored by just how edgy and cool that the movie was here. I was impressed, and I just thought it was very, very cool. What is going on here? Come on, there we go. All right. And so, yeah, so I mean, I thought, like, right off the bat, it starts off with Jingle Bell Rock, right? With Bobby Helms, Jingle Bell Rock. And right when Lethal Weapon starts out with that over the very cool opening credits, I've always thought the opening credits, like the font and the graphics on the font with the opening titles, was very, very cool. And then they're playing Bobby Helms, excuse me, rock. what am I, like a Jingle Bell Rock? There we go. And then they close in with that helicopter shot into what the Capitol Records building there, I think is what it looks like there with Amanda Hunsaker, and she's the one, she's the girl that's been up to no good. She has not been daddy's good little girl apparently for a little while right there, because she's snorting coke and all that stuff there, and not living the good life. She's kind of like living like Jenny from Forrest Gump, right? She's going out there and making sure that she is not living, she's not walking the good walk. She's not walking the good walk of Jesus out there. And so same with Amanda Hunsaker in this movie. But so anyway, so we've got that going on, and then she goes out there, and she's feeling really good about life, and she's not influenced at all by drugs. When of course she goes out on the balcony railing and just decides, she wants to be like Nelly Furtado. She wants to fly like a bird, right? And she finds out the hard way. You're no bird. Okay, you're no bird. You're landing like a turd on the top of a car right there. Very sad what's going on with that. So, but then you get, it cuts to like the cool, Eric Clapton and then the Michael Kamen soundtrack. And then you get like, the David Sanborn saxophone playing throughout the movie. After that scene, of course, it cuts to, it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird kind of change in mode and mood in the movie, because it goes from Amanda Hunsaker jumping to her death, and it cuts to the happy, loving home of Roger Murtaugh, right? And he's in the bathtub, and his family's coming in and singing happy birthday to him, bringing him a birthday cake and all that stuff. Side note, I don't know if you might not be like me, but are you going to be all excited about eating that birthday cake when it's been right by a tub? They bring the birthday cake right by the tub. Maybe somebody splash some bath water on there. God knows what's in that bath water right there on that cake. No, I'm going to be saying no thanks to cake right there. Not at all. So I'll just have me some of the cookies over there. I'm not getting up in that cake there. And then on top of that, I don't know. It could just be a me thing here. I don't think it is, but did you kind of think it's weird? I mean, you got this 50-year-old man, and he's taking a bath like all of us guys typically do, before we go off to work, right? I mean, what man doesn't soak in the tub before a work day, right? No, that doesn't happen right there. But it's Hollywood, they have to use it for cinema and all that. It's all cinematic. So, but you have to ignore that kind of stuff there. But but it's a heartwarming, touching scene, with Roger Murtaugh, this family man with his loving family, wishing him a happy 50th birthday, which is kind of weird for Lethal Weapon, because actually Danny Glover was like 40 years old or 41 or 42 years old. He was in his early 40s. And he's playing a 50-year-old, which I thought was kind of weird. They're kind of unusual. But, he passes for 50, a very young 50, I guess. I don't know. I'm probably not being very nice to Danny Glover with that. But then also Mel Gibson, like with the timeline of his character, they portray him like he's supposed to be like 37, 38 years old. But Mel Gibson was only 30 years old when he filmed Lethal Weapon. So some interesting aging or interesting ages to the actors there, and that they hired for these roles. Usually it's the other way around, right? Usually it's like Beverly Hills 90210, where you got some 47-year-old actor trying to play like he's 17, right? Luke Perry. All right. So rest in peace, Luke Perry, I should say. But in this one, it's like the actors are younger than the characters that they're playing, as opposed to what's usually the norm. The actor is much older than the character they're playing, so that kind of thing. But anyway, so then, I mean, you progress throughout the rest of the movie. You get like the shootout between Riggs and the guys, trying to sell him some blow at the Christmas tree lot there. And that was a cool action scene. And I thought that was cool. And it just kind of added to the edginess of it. And so I think that's why that's one of the reasons I love Lethal Weapon so much to this day, is because it made a profound impact on me as a kid, because it was one of the first R-rated movies that I saw as a kid, and it was like just opened my eyes, to how cool movies could be. And again, it's one of my first R-rated movies. Ironically, I went and saw it with my youth pastor from church. He's taking kids from the youth ministry to R-rated movies. Which, hey, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not gonna rat him out and say his name here, but it's all good. But yeah. So then, this movie is known for its just crisp, clean action and stylish action, and which still holds up today. Okay, now there's a whole lot of stuff in Lethal Weapon where you watch it now, where you're like, oh, that's straight from the '80s. I mean, you got like tube TVs, and they're using like the big bag phones to call each other. No one's got a smartphone in this movie. I think the scene where they go to Amanda Unsacker's meal ticket, the house up on the hills, and they've got that big like rear projection, TV in there. Just I'm trying to look at some other, like the station wagon that they drive. I mean, like, who drives station wagons nowadays, right? So some things straight out of the 80s, the 80s fashion in it. It was just, but all that stuff, it gives away the age of the movie. That's not timeless. But the action is timeless. It's very, very cool there, and I love it. I love it so. Okay, and I'm gonna toast to the action there in Lethal Weapon by getting me a little drinky here. Oh, right here. Let me do this. I gotta turn this on. All right, let's see here. And all right, there we go. Let's see if I can actually hear the show here still. All right, let's see here. Yep, it's coming through loud and clear. There you go, because you probably heard the show there in the background for a brief second. But all right, let's do this here real quick here. One kind of thing that I thought, because as you guys may be aware of here, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of connections between the movies Lethal Weapon and Die Hard, okay? And one of those connections is that the same prop gun that was used in Lethal Weapon actually was used in Die Hard. So when you the gun that Martin Riggs uses, okay, he doesn't use the Smith and Wesson six shooter that Murtaugh uses, that Riggs gives him shit about, right? In that scene where he's they're talking about what guns they have, and Murtaugh's looking at his Beretta, his Beretta 92F right there, and he's like, oh, it's some serious hardware. That Beretta 92F is not serious hardware. It's a pretty common gun, back in the 80s when this came out here. This particular model, well, I believe was like, was available from 1978 to like 1984 or something like that. So this particular model of Beretta there, but it was pretty common. I mean, like the Air Force, I think there was like several like law enforcement agencies that it was like their standard sidearm there. It wasn't like some Desert Eagle or something like that. Now that's some serious hardware to be packing on you as far as your carry weapon or your sidearm there. But a Beretta 92F, no, not serious. But it's the gun of Martin Riggs, and Mel Gibson, the prop gun Beretta 92F that he's used in Lethal Weapon is the exact same one that Bruce Willis used as John McClane, down to the serial number. Okay, so which is I thought it was very cool, kind of some useless trivia there, but there we go. But yeah, this is some another connection between Die Hard and Lethal Weapon there. Of course, another connection is that Joel Silver, the super Hollywood producer, he produced both. He was involved with both Die Hard and Lethal Weapon. And then Shane Black, I don't think Shane Black. No, Shane Black didn't have anything to do with Die Hard. My bad. So Stephen E. D'Souza, he's the one who wrote. Stephen E. D'Souza and Jeb Stewart, they wrote Die Hard. But excuse me, sorry about the constant coughing here. If you've noticed that right there, I'm still fighting something off here. But very, very cool. And I think this 92F, this Beretta 92F, is the same Beretta 92F that you see in a lot of the Die Hard movie posters there with John McClane, holding it up in the air, but he's doing that. That was very cool. But anyway, so back to Lethal Weapon here, and I thought that the Lethal Weapon series, just to kind of like cover the Lethal Weapon series as a whole, okay. In Lethal Weapon, the plot line with Martin Riggs is that he's suicidal, right? He's on the edge. You just never know when he's going to crack. What's going to flip that light switch where he goes all maniacal? I mean, is he going to just take himself out, or is he going to take like everybody out within a 30-foot radius of him out? When he finally does, crack up, right? And so that's the plot line throughout the whole thing. And it gives it that edge, right? Especially with the scene where he's sitting there in his trailer, and he's got his Beretta 92F right there. And he's loading a round in the pipe there, or a round in the chamber. And it's got like he says, it's a good hollow point round, so it blows the back of his brains out. And so that whole scene where he's talking about where you think he might self-delete himself, you really don't think he's going to self-delete himself, because obviously there would be no Mel Gibson for the rest of the movie, right? So you don't really buy it. But it's an emotional scene, right? And so it provides that hard edge, that darkness to the movie that you just lose after this first movie, because at the end of Lethal Weapon, when after all the shit's done, and he goes to the Murtaughs to give Roger, his bullet, little gift wrap bullet there, and it's Rianne, Murtaugh's daughter, and that answers the door, and she's like, "It's a bullet," and he's like, "I know it, but your dad's gonna know what it means. Just tell him that I'm not gonna need it anymore. He'll know what that means." But then Murtaugh comes out and does a whole line like, if you think I'm gonna eat the lousiest Christmas turkey ever, you're crazy. And Riggs like, "Hey, I'll tell you a secret. I'm not crazy." And then after that, hey, he's emotionally healed, right? I guess everything that he's gone through in Lethal Weapon, and I know I'm suffering over here. Yeah. And then it just being welcomed into the Murtaugh family, being adopted by the Murtaughs, has really helped heal him up there. And so at the end of Lethal Weapon, he's a changed man for the better, right? And so that's good. That's good, right? You're like, oh, how heartwarming and uplifting that is. That's great. But it means that the movies after this, obviously starting with Lethal Weapon 2, they lose that grittiness and that edge that the OG Lethal Weapon had right there. But but without a doubt, though, Lethal Weapon 2 did have its spots where it did have that same darkness in it, that same grit to it. Particularly where I'm referring to is after Rika is killed, right? Rika Van Hagen-Dazs, right? As Riggs jokingly calls it, I think it's Van den Haas or something like that. It's Dutch. And so Rika is killed, by the evil South Africans, right? And after that happens, and it just sends Riggs on a rampage, right? And he's just going around killing people. He's bashing dudes' heads, with car doors and snapping necks and pulling houses down with his pickup truck and just ending lives, right? And then after it, with that scene where he discovers Rika's been drowned, right? From that point, there is no daylight in Lethal Weapon 2. Everything is at night from that standpoint right there. So it's literally a darker movie. And so you do see Lethal Weapon 2, you do see a return to the darkness and the grittiness there. But of course, before that, Lethal Weapon 2, it's a big joke fest, right? So, it's Joe Pesci, okay. They fuck you at the drive-thru. They, and just like that, and, Leo Getz doing his, whatever you want, Leo Getz, get it, just old Leo Getz character, and then Mel Gibson and Danny Glover giving her captain a bunch of crap, and the fun with the family, and Rihanna with her condom commercial, and just a lot of good fun times, with the movie. And then after Rika is killed, then it goes from light to dark, and it's kind of like a return to Lethal Weapon 1 in a sense there. So, but I thought that was I thought it was kind of cool there. That's why a lot of people. Lethal Weapon 2 is their favorite Lethal Weapon, not the first one, not the OG. Lethal Weapon 2, for a lot of people, that's their favorite Lethal Weapon, because maybe one of the reasons they like Lethal Weapon 2 is because it does have that fun, jokey side to it, the lighthearted side to it, but also you get some of that Lethal Weapon OG darkness with it as well. So I'll tell you, I guess I'm an OG guy. My number one Lethal Weapon movie is I'm always going to go with the first Lethal Weapon there. But the Lethal Weapon 2 is a very, very, very close second. It is like that close right there, very close there. Okay, so it's right on the edge there. So maybe someday it'll overtake Lethal Weapon there. But I was going to say, one of the reasons I might like the first Lethal Weapon better is because I saw it at the theaters, but I saw Lethal Weapon 2 at the theaters too. So I don't know. Back in '89 when it came out here, and boy, what a summer of blockbuster movies that 1989 was. Right? Remember, we had Lethal Weapon 2 and Batman and Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, The Abyss, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and all kinds of great movies there in 1989. License to Kill, the James Bond movie. So, but Lethal Weapon 2, I think Lethal Weapon 2 was like, I think it was like the number 2 movie of the year behind, I think Batman was like number 1 in 1989. So, but anyway, so Lethal Weapon 2, I think that's why a lot of people like it, because it just has a mix of the ha ha hee hee, and and just the darkness. That's what that's all about there. So, all right, let's do this here real quick. And I just want to take a moment here to ask you if you would, if you guys are still willing to hit the like button, even in spite of my audio issues that I was having before there. But you know what? Again, my excuse is I'm starting the use of a brand new sound mixer here. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, there you go. And no more mixer talk, because you guys don't care, and I don't blame you. You guys are here for the Lethal Weapons. There you go. But if you guys still think I deserve a click on the old like button, please, if you would, hit the like button down below, down there somewhere. And then also, if you haven't already, hit the follow or subscribe button. And then also, we've got the notification bell down there for your clicking pleasure. If you want to go ahead and click on that, that would be fantastic there. And then for all my viewers that didn't have a chance to watch, live here, then, we can still communicate with each other. We're just going to have to do it via the comments section that is down below there as well. So if you're watching the recording of this here, first off, hi, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate that. Refer this to your friends and family if you would. But get in the comments section if you want, and just comment to your heart's desire. Comment whatever you want down there. That'd be fantastic. It's just fantastic to hear from you. And I do check out the comments there. I'm no shrinking violet. I have no fear of seeing some comments that some would call negative there. I don't call things negative or positive, because newsflash, life is not a AA battery. All right, you can't divide everything in life down to negative and positive. But that to say is, if there's negative comments down there, I read them just like I read the positive comments. It's all good. I just want to hear from you. Okay, there you go, right there. And let me take care of a little thing right here. Let's get this here. Leave the weapon there. Okay, all right, and get up in here. I'm gonna do this. All right. Let's do this. Take care of a little house cleaning here. So, get my Formula 409 out here. There we go. All right, let's get that going on. Excellent. All right, and I think, you know what? I think we've got some more Lethal Weapon to talk about. Don't you? I think we do. I think we do. We got plenty of Lethal Weapon because there's never too much Lethal Weapon to talk about there. But actually, first, not until I get another drinky over here, man. Because, like I said, I'm suffering over here, and I need to keep this whistle wetted here. There we go. Excellent. And again, if you've just kind of walked on into this show and you're like, there's a Lethal Weapon show on right now, a live Lethal Weapon show that I can watch and maybe live chat and talk about Lethal Weapon. If you've discovered this, well, don't be stingy. Refer the link to this episode right now, this live episode, to anybody that you know has seen Lethal Weapon, which is pretty much about everybody in the world. Okay, except for maybe some Buddhist monks up in the Himalayas. Maybe they haven't seen it, but pretty much everybody else has seen Lethal Weapon. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and share the link to this live Lethal Weapon discussion episode to anybody that you suspects has seen this movie, and so that way they can join the show here too, because I'm seeing a whole lot of people here watching the show here. Not a whole lot of people live chatting right now. We're going to need to get people in the live chat here because Lethal Weapon is a movie that I would imagine people have some opinions about. Whether they love the movie. It's nostalgia for them. Maybe there's like a contrarian out there that just absolutely hates Lethal Weapon or something like that, or maybe some pink-haired, septum ring wearing leftist loser that's like, I don't like Lethal Weapon. It's full of too much toxic masculinity. Hey, you know what? I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you there, Granola. Okay, get my live chat. I want to hear from you as well with your terribly wrong take, but hey, a take nonetheless. There you go. All right. Now, one thing that I noticed about the scene where they're interviewing the kids, in Lethal Weapon, right after Dixie's house goes kaboom, right? Which is some fortunate timing, in a way, for Riggs and Murtaugh, because it doesn't blow up once they get into the house or when they're knocking on the door of the house. It blows up right as they're like walking up to the house, and they just happen to be far enough away to be safe from the explosion. So I thought I was like, oh, that's some Hollywood timing right there. So, but right after right after that explosion, right when they're, I gotta let me rewind a little bit. I liked how when they're walking up to the house, these little kids here, they're like, you're gonna bust Dixie. You're gonna bust Dixie. And like, Murtaugh's like, come on, shh. That was great. But then let's cut to the scene that we're watching here, where these adorable little kids are sitting there on the fire truck, and one of the cops comes up to Riggs and Murtaugh and said, "Hey, there's a kid over here. There's a kid over here that claims to have seen the meter man, right? From the electrical company, walking up to the house and all that stuff." And I just thought that so that Riggs and Murtaugh go and they interview this kid here, and some people are gonna think this is totally jacked up here, but I just like how they portrayed the kids at that you're seeing here on the screen as kind of like potentially very high chances, but as potential like Michael Browns and George Floyd's, there, because these kids were obviously already being taught wrongfully that cops just crave killing black people, right? Like, they're already stupidly and incorrectly being taught that cops just jump out of bed in the morning, at the potential chance to smoke some black people there. And I'm like, I would imagine that's how guys like Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin and George Floyd. I'm assuming that's the kind of bullshit they were taught as kids. And then, hey, look what happened to them, right? And so in this whole scene with these kids, like who was it? Albert, the kid with the 3D glasses on there. He's I think he was the one that's outright just saying like, my mom says cops kill black people or something to that effect, right? And so it's sad to think about. It's sad to think about, and it's true in real life that you got millions of black kids stupidly being taught that cops just walk around just looking to smoke black people here, and so that's just kind of one of those. It was one of thoughts that I've jacked up thoughts. I'll tell you, and if you didn't know before, now. I've jacked up thoughts sometimes when I'm watching movies, and that's one of the thoughts there that I had was like, oh my god, man, these parents of these kids like cute little Albert and his cute little friends. They're being taught that cops like to just cops crave killing black people, and they're gonna turn out to be Michael Brown or Trayvon Martin. Like they're lucky if they just end up in jail, or they're gonna end up even worse, and they're gonna be that guy that rushes up on a cop like Michael Brown and obviously that cop is understandable. He'll be like, I got this big guy coming up and trying to grab my gun. If I let him get my gun, he's going to take my own gun. He's going to smoke me with it potentially. All right, it's time to put some holes in Michael Brown, because if I don't put holes in him, I guarantee it, he's going to be putting holes in me. Or Trayvon Martin attacking George Zimmerman, and it's like, well, if I'm George Zimmerman, I got a gun. I got some guy attacking me. Sorry, it's time to ventilate your ass, right? Or George Floyd. It's like, if he can't, he's too stupid to follow simple commands like get in the back of the cop car. All right, just get in the back of the cop car. Just sit in the back of the cop car. Get comfy, sit in the back of the cop car. It's because he was too stupid to know how to do that. He ends up kicking his drug habit. There we go. We'll just put it that way. So anyway, but yeah. So, but but I did think this scene with the kids, I thought it was kind of a cute little scene, and it's kind of like one of the scenes that adds some levity to the darkest. Now I didn't mean it that way. The darkest as far as plot and mood, of the Lethal Weapon movies. It adds some much needed levity and funniness and humor to the movie right there. So, but yeah, I just sad. I'm hoping that these kids that portrayed these characters here, I'm hoping that they got away from anybody teaching them that stupid stuff, and they went on to be very successful, productive members of society right there. And anyway, so there we go. But all right, let's move on here with some more Lethal Weapon, shall we? All right, here, and let's do this as we Just that. Good. All right, I think I just got it. Yep, there you go. You're hearing stuff now. All right, let's see. Okay, let's see if we can reset this thing here. Okay. So now I'm gonna mute myself and all that stuff. Sorry about that, guys. All right. It is just not my night here, but that happens to all live streamers sometimes here. So this is not going to be one. This is not going to be one for the Movies Merica Mount Rushmore. That's for sure. Let me get all my stuff shared here again, and let's do this here real quick. Man. All right, and let's do this. There we go. Nice. Okay. All right, let's get that going on. And let's share that out. There we go. Okay, I think that's where we ended up before. Man, that is nuts. Okay. All right. Anyway, enough griping about that. All right. Let's just pretend like that didn't happen. Okay. Let's drink to that idea. Okay. And yeah, feel free to let me know in the live chat on Rumble or YouTube if you guys are seeing any kind of like audio or visual issues or anything like that here. But anyway, so back to Lethal Weapon. So one thing that I didn't know for a long time here about Lethal Weapon was the Gracie family. Okay, so if you guys know UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship, the Gracie family that was big in starting the UFC back in the day, and one of the Gracies, Hoist Gracie, was the first UFC champion back in the early 90s. Well, they're from Brazil, and kind of like the first family of mixed martial arts, right? Well, yeah, they were involved with Lethal Weapon way back in 1987. Okay, shortly before UFC was created, and so I should say the Gracie family was involved. But specifically, Rorian Gracie from that family was involved with not only Lethal Weapon, but with Lethal Weapon 3. And Rorian Gracie, he choreographed the fight between Mel Gibson and Gary Busey, or should I say Martin Riggs and Mr. Joshua, at the finale of the first movie. And then remember in the third Lethal Weapon movies where there's some fight scenes there involving Rene Russo, and where she comes in, she plays like, anyway, whatever her character's name is in that movie. She's got some fight scenes in that movie. That's part of the reason why Martin Riggs, his character, fell in love with her, because he's like, ooh, there's a woman that can take care of herself, and ooh, she likes the rough stuff. Okay, not that I didn't mean it that way, but but yeah, so that was cool that the Gracie family had a connection to Lethal Weapon there as well. I mean, they've had their hands in mixed martial arts, and they've made Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu this mainstream thing nowadays. But I didn't know it went as far back as Lethal Weapon way back in 1987. But yeah, they like Hoist Gracie. He was again, like I said, he was like the first UFC champion, and that's back when the UFC, had its motto. His motto was like no holds barred, no rules, and that's when you practically like gouge the dude's eye out, in the middle of the octagon, pull it out of his socket, and they wouldn't say nothing about it. Well, that's going a little extreme. I don't think anybody did that intentionally, but hey, like they said it, hey, no rules, no holds barred, that kind of thing. So. But yeah, so that was when the UFC was, even more brutal, when than some people think it is now to this day. But hey, that Lethal Weapon fight, towards the end of the movie, that was a brutal fight there. And actually, that was, for me, I thought that was something that we really hadn't seen before in action movies. There is, they got Mr. Joshua, they've captured him, and he's got him out in the yard. You think, like, typically what would happen there is, they just cuff him and throw him in the back of the squad car, take him to the station, and that'd be it, right? And but I guess in kind of a badass, diversion, right? A badass, I guess a departure from the norm. Then Martin Riggs is like, hey, hey Jack, want a shot at the title? And it's on. They're fighting in the front of Murtaugh's house there, and it's fantastic fight. It's cut a little too quickly for me because they do that thing where with every punch they cut, back and forth with every punch and whatnot. It's not at all like like the best choreographed and the best film fight scenes. Like the famous scene from The Raid 2, right? Or you get some movies like what was that? What The Night Comes for Us? Is that? I think that's another great movie with some great fight scenes in it. So like any kind of John Woo movie with Chow Yun Fat, good fight scenes in those movies. There is a John Wick. Those are well choreographed and well filmed fight scenes. The Gary Busey Mel Gibson fight, towards the end of Mel Gibson, it leaves some to be desired as far as how it's filmed and that kind of thing. And then of course on top of that, Richard Donner, has a seat at night, with water raining down on him from the fire hydrant. So it's not the best film fight scene, but the whole idea of like not just cuffing Mr. Joshua and throw him in the back of a squad car and getting the fight on, I thought it was kind of a cool, different diversion or departure from the norm in a action movie there. But all right, let's do this here real quick. I'm very paranoid. I just want to make sure that the audio is working again. See this. There we go. Yep, it's apparently is. Apparently is. There you go, because you heard it. You heard it yourself there, folks. You heard it there live on Movies Merica. Spoiler warning here tonight. Okay. And you know what? I think that what we should do next here is a traditional favorite segment of many people that watch this here Movies Merica Spoiler Warning show. And that segment is Brew Review Time. All right, so let me introduce you to the brew for tonight. And that would be some La Cumbre Malpais or Malpais stout there. I know I'm an ugly American. I'm white boy Roy here. I don't always pronounce these Spanish words there correctly and that kind of thing. Unless it's quesadilla, or taco, or some chalupa, all those Spanish words that apparently I have down so well. I've got those expertly down so well. But anyway, so La Cumbre Malpais Stout is how I'm going to choose to pronounce that. Coming to us out of the ABQ in New Mexico, there, or Albuquerque, New Mexico, home of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, right? And this is a stout, and so this is one of the thicker brews of beer here, I guess, types of beer. It's a stout there. I got like stouts and porters and barley wines are like your thicker types of beer here. And this particular stout, it's like a robust mix. You got like roasted malt, espresso, and dark chocolate. And I thought that it had kind of like a little kind of a minimum amount of like sweetness to it. That way it's not overpowering. That way it doesn't seem like you're drinking, candy, or you're just drinking a big can of chocolate milk or something like that. And it does have I'd say like a slightly dry, bitter finish here. And as far as like the nose on this thing, let's check this out. Yeah, well, you definitely get the chocolate, some coffee. I'm getting like what is that? I'm trying to put a name on it. Yeah, that is like molasses or something like that, like chocolate, coffee, molasses, and cherry. Yeah, it's like kind of cherry, kind of cherry nose to that right there. So this is good. I'm gonna kill the suspense here, and yeah, I would say I recommend this beer. I recommend this La Cumbre Malpais Stout here from Albuquerque, New Mexico here, and I've been trying to tell everybody the kind of foods that pair well with the beers, the brews that I'm reviewing here, and this right here, this is going to pair very well with like smoked meats or like oysters, seafood, gamey meats, that kind of like venison, squirrel. That's a gamey meat, right? There's stuff like that. Stews, chilies, those are some other foods that'll pair well with this Malpais stout right there, to be honest with you. This thing comes in at 7.5 alcohol by volume and a 60 for the IBU there. IBU stands for International Bitterness Units there. So a measure of how bitter it is. I know, mind-blowing, right? So, but anyway, enough of me yapping about this beer, and I'm going to take a drink off this bad boy here. So here we go. All right, excellent. So yes, I am officially recommending some La Cumbre Malpais Stout, and I am not getting any money from La Cumbre for endorsing this whatsoever. If it tastes like dog shit, I would tell you, all right, without hesitation. But without hesitation, I'm telling you, get your hands on some of this right here. And as far as some ways you can get your hands on it, if you're not in, the ABQ, you're not in Albuquerque, New Mexico, maybe like the open bar app on your phone, gopuff.com, stuff like that. Uber Eats will deliver beer now as well. So, but anyway, just wanted to throw those options out at you because I don't want to hog all the good beer for myself here. So I know it's harder for me to get my hands on beer too because I used to live in a major metropolitan area. I used to live in Dallas-Fort Worth, and now I live in a much smaller area. But when you live in a bigger area like Dallas-Fort Worth, you have like the big Costco's of booze called Total Wine and More. Where the kind of the kind of store where you walk in, and if you're a raging alcoholic like me, not really, but when you're walking to Total Wine and More, you're like, so much booze and cigars. So, but I don't have one of those available to me anymore. So it makes it a little harder for me to get the brews there. So I'm with you. If you guys are like, oh God, I know I live out in a one stoplight town with 300 people in it, and how am I going to get that good brew? So believe me, we park our car in the same garage. I'm on the same struggle bus you're on now. But anyway, enough of my sob stories here. It's time to wrap up this brew review time. All right. So what should we do next, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? I know what we should do next. Let me do this here. I want to show you something that you are going to be happy to see here. And that sounds kind of sinister and pervy, and I need to phrase it a different way. I think I'm going to show you a website with good stuff here. No, that sounds pervy still as well. Anyway, let me just share this here with you, and you can see for yourself that I am not trying to show you pervy stuff. No, not this time. All right, let's get over here and show you this. There you go. The Movies Merica merch store. Yes, that's what I wanted to show you here. And actually, while I'm here, let me do this. I'm just going to copy that and put that in the... Excuse me. I'm a teetering over here. Put that in the live chat here on... there we go. Let's do this here real quick. And hey, Mr. Scott Awesome, how you doing that? How you doing head to your at the show right there? I didn't see you quite yet here, but I see you now. And thanks for checking out the show here and gracing us with your presence. And ask, are you going to down that beer harder than Iowa beat Nebraska? Yeah, they did. They did use Nebraska as a doormat, really. In that, and it makes me. Nothing makes me happier than seeing Nebraska get used and abused there, like a beat up doormat right there, because of Matt Rule, their head coach. Matt Rule is a complete tool. Rule is a tool there. So, because I'm a Michigan fan, and Matt Rule, and we'll get off of sports here in a second, but Matt Rule was the first guy to cry the loudest about, oh, Michigan cheated. That's the only reason that Michigan beat us. Like, dude, we beat you like 47-3. Okay, so we didn't beat you by cheating, or we beat your ass just by being a better team and being better coached there. But hey, cling on all the excuses that you want, so your fat ass sleeps better at night there, Matt Rule. So, but anytime, Nebraska gets treated like a rag doll by another team, I love it. I love it right there. So there you go. So the Frank Solich curse continues. Yep. We're like Bo Pelini. You guys could have held on to Bo Pelini there. But anyway, so that's sports. So, but anyway, so I put the link to the Movies Merica merch website. I pinned that there in the Rumble, the Rumble live chat right there. Let me return the favor here for YouTube, so you guys can have the link to YouTube. There we go, and put that in there because I don't want to deprive YouTube. There you go. Excellent. Okay, so yes, the link to the Movies Merica merch website is in the. There we go. Okay, excellent. There we go. All right, so let me just kind of show you here what we got available here to kind of give you a little brief overview. So as you can see, we've got all kinds of different merch here. Obviously, starting off with a hat, T-shirts, drinkware, accessories. We got different types of T-shirts here as well. Got the Movies Merica or the Black Adam kind of take on the Movies Merica logo. I was kind of like that there. So yeah, and then it's we're kind of going down here, as you can kind of tell. We've got different colors of shirts as well. Again, like I said, drinkware. You got coffee cups, got pint glasses, all kinds of great stuff. That's, hey, you know what? It's the holiday season, and you can go ahead and grab some of this stuff here for your loved ones, and give the gift of Movies Merica for this Christmas here. And I got to tell you that Movies Merica, when I'm wearing the Movies Merica merch, it's a good conversation starter because people take notice of it. Like, ooh, what's Movies Merica? I kind of like saying that. I like the alliteration of saying Movies Merica. What is that? And then, if you're lucky, hey, maybe it's be a hot girl, that asking that question right there. And the next thing you know, you're engaged, then you're married, then you're having kids, and you're living happily ever after, all because you were wearing your Movies Merica merch, and she just had to know what Movies Merica was. And now, thanks to Movies Merica, you are walking off into the sunset with your beautiful bride and all your beautiful kids. So there you go. So in advance, you're welcome. There you go. But check that out right there, the Movies Merica merch store. And or you know what, if you're a selfish bastard like me, just buy a bunch of stuff for yourself and don't buy anything for anybody else. So there you go. All right. Check that out, everybody up in here there. Okay, so there we go. Let's check that out. I want to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. Nope, we're good. We're solid. We're solid, everybody. We're solid. Okay, so we've got some more Lethal Weapon to talk about here, of course, here. And you know what? This beer, I swear to God, this beer is like eyeballing me out of my left eye, out of the corner of my left eye. So I guess it's time to drink. All right, there we go. All right. Trying to keep the coughing at bay there as well, for your sake, more really than mine there. But anyway, so more Lethal Weapon. And so Shane Black, the writer of Lethal Weapon, he wanted a much bigger finale than we saw in the actual finished product of Lethal Weapon there. Now, his bigger finale, because, think about writers always this way. When you're writing something, you're always writing like these big action set pieces with all that stuff. And then typically when you bring your screenplay that's written like that to a movie studio, unfortunately your dreams are dashed because no, we're not going to have a bunch of helicopters hitting the Empire State Building, and we're not going to have a big convoy of 57 tanks, and they're all rushing towards the Grand Canyon and taking out 27 dinosaurs. Now all that's getting scratched in your screenplay because we've only got a budget of $2 million. Like, who do you think you are? Okay, so typically that's what happens with screenplays. It's particularly Shane Black because this was like his first screenplay that they got greenlit. So he's not he's like a seasoned screenplay writer or anything like that. There with I'm just trying to think of a screenplay writer here. Anyway, screenwriter. Who cares? But so he found out the hard way with his first screenplay that got greenlit and greenlit to be turned into a movie. That no, there will not be a big finale like you want in your script. Where a helicopter crashes into the Hollywood sign and the Hollywood sign's up in flames, and then a shipment of heroin gets blown up at an airplane above L.A. and the entire city of L.A. is covered in a rain of heroin and anything like that. So that's all going by the wayside. We've only got a modest budget, okay, here, Shane. So, but hey, Shane, this is what we'll do for you in this movie right here. Okay, so your little idea of like having heroin just rain down on the entire city of Los Angeles. This is what we'll do for you. Okay, check this out. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll have a scene where a car gets hit by a bus, and it's in flames, and then the car, ignites some grenades, blows up the car, and it sends heroin from that car raining down on a bunch of people on Hollywood Boulevard. How about that? I know it's not the whole city, but it's a whole street. It's Hollywood Boulevard. How about that there, Mr. Black? How about that? Or we could just not make a movie at all, huh? There you go. Exactly. Yeah, we got you by the short and curlies there, buddy. Absolutely. But Shane Black, and not only was his screenplay featuring like this much bigger spectacle of a finale, it was much darker too. It had a much darker plot line for Martin Riggs, for Mel Gibson in this, as if the plot line for Martin Riggs wasn't dark enough, right? In Lethal Weapon, but he wanted to go even darker in the movie. And that's Shane Black's. That's his MO. Is a lot of his screenplays before they're modified. They're pretty damn dark there. So, but Shane Black, you might know him also. He was in the movie. Actually, he's done a little acting in his day, and one of his acting roles was Predator. Now, the very first Predator, the same year that Lethal Weapon came out, and he played the character in Predator that was always joking. He was always throwing the jokes out there. He had like the big glasses. He's like the nerdy member of the crew. That was Shane Black. Okay, when he was as an actor, but typically he's a screenwriter right there. But I just thought it was kind of some mildly interesting stuff from Lethal Weapon there, and about the screenplay for Lethal Weapon here. But let me do something right here. I just want to make sure. Keeping up on stuff right here because I like to run a tight ship here at Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. That is how we roll around here. But we'll hide that up in here and let's move on, shall we? All right, and let me check here on the YouTube side. I'll double check something there. Q. All right, I think we're all good to go. Everything's copacetic over there. All right, so I think we're almost to my personal favorite segment of every Movies Merica spoiler warning episode there. And just to cut the suspense, my favorite segment is the movie military moment. And what that is it's just where I give myself a few minutes to pay tribute to someone who is a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor. Okay, a brave service member, a brave member of our military that's been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, the good old CMH, right? And right now, at least one of you might be out there going, that's very honorable of you, Van. It's very nice of you to do that, but what the hell does that have to do with movies? And you know what? That's a righteous question. I understand that. That makes sense right there. And I owe you an explanation for that question right there, but not until after this. All right, it's explanation time there. And so the connection between movies and me paying tribute to a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor is, so picture this, okay? So if you are awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, you didn't get it for being the best booger picker on base, right? You didn't get it for being the best letter sorter at the base post office, right? You got it for doing something very selfless, very dangerous, dangerous in particular to your life and limb, but you just don't care. You just want to, save your fellow soldiers. You want to accomplish a mission that bad where you're willing to put your literal ass on the line. And so you do that in a way and to a degree where you are awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. And so it's for stuff like, you're a Marine and you're storming the beaches of Iwo Jima, right? And you're taking out like 2 or 3 pillboxes full of Japs, right? And you're just killing at will. You're just taking guys out, and then but at the same time you're injured at the same time, right? And you got people like, hey man, you're injured. Let's get back to get back to the rear with the gear, man. Get back to the rear lines. There's a medical ship waiting for you out there, and you're like, no man, I can still fight. Don't take me out of the fight, man. I can still go. You're killing Japs left and right. You pick up a flamethrower. You Kentucky Fry a bunch of Japs there as well, and then you see like another pillbox, and they're about to mow down some of your fellow Marines. And you scream "Semper Fi!" and you grab one of your grenades and you toss it into the pillbox. It takes out all the Japs there, and you're just doing shit like that, right? Something where if you saw that whole scene on a big movie screen, it would be a very cool movie military moment, and that's the connection. All right, so there you go, right? And so with that. And having that explanation out of the way, let's not delay our tribute to our honoree tonight any further. Okay, and our honoree for tonight is one Lieutenant John Duncan Bulkeley, and hopefully I'm saying that last name correctly here. I don't want to be disrespectful to the recipient, to the honoree for tonight, but Lieutenant Bulkeley, he got his Congressional Medal of Honor for actions in World War II. There, okay, and so instead of hearing from me about the good lieutenant, let's hear more about his acts in World War II that got him his Congressional Medal of Honor. But I think the good lieutenant deserves some good movie military moment music, don't you? I agree. So let's take care of that right now. This is the movie military moment. And in this movie military moment, we harken back to World War II, where we honor Lieutenant John Duncan Bulkeley. And let's find out a little bit more about what Lieutenant Bulkeley did in World War II to be so deserving of a Congressional Medal of Honor. For extraordinary heroism, distinguished service, and conspicuous gallantry above and beyond the call of duty as commander of Mortar Torpedo Boat Squadron 3 in Philippine waters, during the period from 7 December 1941 to 10 April 1942. The remarkable achievement of Lieutenant Commander Bulkeley's command in damaging or destroying a notable number of Japanese enemy planes, surface combatant and merchant ships, and in dispersing landing parties and land-based enemy forces during the 4 months and 8 days of operation without benefit of repairs, overhaul, or maintenance facilities for his squadron is believed to be without precedence in this type of warfare. That was a mouthful. His dynamic forcefulness and daring in offensive action, his brilliantly planned and skillfully executed attacks, supplemented by a unique resourcefulness and ingenuity, characterize him as an outstanding leader of men and a gallant and intrepid seaman. These qualities, coupled with a complete disregard for his own personal safety, reflect great credit upon him and the naval service. And we salute you, Lieutenant John Duncan Bulkeley, for your actions in World War II that ended up resulting in you being awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. And that has been the movie Military Moments. All right. Now that citation, they didn't really go into specifics as far as what specifically he did. I guess because typically you get more specific, like then he took his grenade and launched it into a pillbox and killed 12 Japs, and then he rushed up to 20 meters forward to even more danger, and he picked up his BAR and he mowed down a crew of grenade, it goes that specific. This one was a little bit more high level than that right there. But hey, you know what? Nonetheless, we salute you, Lieutenant Commander John Duncan Bulkeley, because you are the recipient of a Congressional Medal of Honor. So good for you right there. But yeah, just to let you guys know, if you guys enjoyed hearing about the good Lieutenant Commander and you want to hear about more recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor, well, you don't have to wait for me and my movie Military Moment Tribute to hear all about them or read all about them. You can go to the website cmohs.org/recipients. Again, that's CMOHS. So I was guessing that stands for Congressional Medal of Honor, CMOH. So CMOHS.org/recipients, and check out all the stories of all these heroes. I guarantee you, you're gonna read those stories and be like, man, I was planning on just laying my ass on the couch today, but after reading what some of these people did, what these brave servicemen did, no, laying my fat ass on the couch all day long watching football. No, I'm getting out there. I'm getting something done. I'm accomplishing something. So there you go. But with that has been the movie Military Moment. All right, let's move on here. Double checking some stuff right there. There we go. And all right. So right now, typically is when I tell you like what movie that I'm going to be reviewing next week right here. And this one's kind of a hard one. It's just because the two big movies, I think there's two big movies, at least one. And one I know about is Five Nights at Freddy's 2. You know what? Let's do this kind of live. We'll check out here. Let's do a little. We're gonna do a little research together, everybody. Yes, we are. We're gonna check some stuff out. Here we go. Let's see what's played at the old Cineplex here in my area. Zootopia 2, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Wicked for Good. Nice to meet you. No, you don't. See, I'm looking for like the latest movie, the movie that just came out this weekend, which would be Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I do know like Hamnet came out, and then what's that other one? No. Okay. See, I don't know a whole lot of. I know that the Kill Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2. They're putting Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2 together, I guess with some changes, but it's called Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, and that's coming out this weekend here, but apparently nowhere near me, so excuse me. So I think it's going to be Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which means I have to watch Five Nights at Freddy's 1, so because I haven't seen that there. So I'm going to have to check out Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2, and then I will do my movie for next week as I actually type it down here so that I don't forget. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 for next week right there, okay? And by God, I hope it's a good movie, okay? Because I'm sick of reviewing cinematic turds, all right? Just one good movie, just for once, for God's sakes, okay? Because I think the last few have been, The Running Man and, Lethal Weapon was good, but I had to go way back to 1987 for that movie right there. So we had The Running Man and Predator Badlands and one of the biggest cinematic turd of this year, One Battle After Another, sometime before that. So, yeah, or what as like one Antifa after another. All right, so there we go. So Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will be the movie that I will be spoiler-free reviewing this Sunday afternoon on the Movies Merica live show, okay? And I should probably let you know when that show comes on Sunday afternoon. So that comes on at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, 2 Mountain, and 1 Pacific time this Sunday afternoon there. And then, of course, in a week from now, on the next Movies Merica spoiler warning show, I'll be going over Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but without any kind of fear of spoilers. Okay, if I drop a spoiler about Five Nights at Freddy's 2 a week from tonight, hey, that's par for the course, because the show is literally called on Thursday nights Movies Merica spoiler warning. Okay? So there you go. So I'll be talking about that next week, everybody. All right, let me double check here. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. We're good to go. Mr. Scott says new Mel Gibson movie coming out tomorrow. Well, let's double check here. Yeah, not coming out anywhere near me, I tell you. Unfortunately, Mr. Scott Awesome. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Check it out. All right. And you got tomorrow on there. Is tomorrow the name of the movie? Maybe. Perhaps. No, Mel Gibson, not Mel Gabson. Gotta learn how to type. Okay, there we go. And let's see here. Monster Summer. Let's see what it is. This is hunting season. When is that coming out? All right. Oh, yeah, hunting season. Okay. When a reclusive survivalist and his daughter rescue a mysterious wounded man from a river, they become entangled in a deadly web of violence and revenge, forcing them to confront a brutal criminal to survive. Okay. Oh, yeah. It looks like okay. And his daughter looks like she's the girl from Ozark. Okay. So, yeah, hunting season there. I guarantee you, that's not playing anywhere near where I'm at. So that's going to be, let's do this here real quick. Let's do hunting season. Because I will travel for a movie. I will do it. And not too far. I mean, I'm not traveling so far where I get a friggin' passport. I'm not going that far. I mean, I'm a movie maniac, but not that much of a maniac. All right. Let's see here. Hunting season. Reminds me of Daffy Duck and Elmer Fudd. Or, Bugs Bunny. Rabbit season. Duck season. Rabbit season. Duck season. Okay. Hunting season. Come on, hunting season. I could probably just use their search feature, but that would be too smart. Oh, do they even have a search feature in there? Oh, here we go. We have search for a movie. hunting season. No movies found. Get the hell out of here. Done. Hunting. Did I spell it right? Hunting season? Huh. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that's not me about the area that I'm in. Man, it's so limited for movies. So limited. All right. But that's probably one that I'm going to have to check out on streaming right there. So, but what does that plot line sound so familiar? Like they rescue somebody and that somebody's being hunted by somebody. And just look there. Yeah. Not even playing that movie anywhere near you right there. Yeah. That's weird. That's weird. So yeah. But that plot, doesn't that, Mr. Scott Austin, does that plot sound familiar to you? Like, yeah, you rescue somebody and then it turns out like, oh, they're being hunted by some bad guys or something like that, that kind of thing. So, but anyway, if I think about it hard enough, I'm sure I could find that right there. But you guys have better things to do than just, sit there and watch me brainstorm shit. So, that's enough about that. But anyway, all right. But yeah, it's too bad there, Mr. Scott Awesome, where it says not even near you there as well. All right. So real quick here, as we get ready to wrap up this episode, this totally flawless, totally without technical difficulty episode of Movies Merica spoiler warning. I just want to implore you that don't take tonight's episode as a reflection of how every Movies Merica spoiler warning goes. It's just the first episode after I installed this new sound mixer here. So and then of course then I jacked up with my mouse over here and I had another problem. But anyway, yes, don't judge this show on this episode alone, I implore you. But anyway, so yeah, follow me if you would on all the platforms that I'm on. I'm on X under @Movies Merica. All these platforms I'm about to tell you, I'm there like on these platforms under Movies Merica. I know, like, who knew, right? And so on Facebook, I'm there under Movies Merica or Van Ebert's. Gab. I'm on Gab under Movies Merica. I'm on Critic Lists and Letterboxd under Movies Merica as well. Instagram under Movies Merica. Although I don't really do much on Instagram there. I think that platform's kind of gay. But anyway, but yeah, Movies Merica. If you would follow me on those platforms, that would be fantastic. Oh, Rumble. Of course, on Rumble, I'm on Rumble under Movies Merica. You might see like multiple Movies Merica accounts on Rumble, but if you would, yeah, just go ahead and follow me on all the Movies Merica accounts on Rumble. There's like 2 on there, and so yeah, follow me on that. And then hey, just so you get something back, out of the deal here, go ahead and let me know that you followed me. You could do that via like direct message me on my @Movies Merica X account. And then I will follow you back there. So it's because it's the least I can do for you helping me out right there. And Mr. Scott Awesome is like, yeah, right, exactly. You're not going to drive that far, for that movie. Maybe one of the movies sucks, exactly. So it's unless it's like a big blockbuster movie that everyone's raving about, that's one thing. But yeah, but Mel Gibson's his movies, for the most part, they're pretty damn good there. So Get the Gringo, that's like a good example of a kind of a straight-to-video movie that he did. Bloodfather is another kind of a straight-to-video Mel Gibson movie that's pretty good as well. So absolutely. And so, all right, let's do this here real quick. I think we're coming down to the end of it here. And and then also, when you follow me, where you go to follow me there, feel free to send that link to anybody that you even suspects likes movies, okay? Because then they're going to see all kinds of episodes of mine where I give the common man, the regular guy perspective on usually the latest movies. Every once in a while, I do a retro review like I did this time with Lethal Weapon here, but for the most part, it's the latest movies there. So yeah, go ahead and don't be stingy hogs, with the link to the Movies Merica page. Go ahead and send it to anybody that you would like to send that to there. So That's how we roll right there. But again, hey, sorry for the technical difficulties here tonight. I had a feeling it was going to be inevitable, or I was going to have some technical difficulties here tonight. But you know what? We press onward there, everyone, right? Onwards and upwards. But thanks to Mr. Scott Awesome for getting the live chat there. Means a lot. And so I'm going to wrap up this episode. But as I always say, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
Howdy, my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Would you do me a favor and check me out at solo.to/Movies Merica? That's where you would go for a one-stop shop for all the links that have to do with me, Movies Merica. And then also, if you want to check out the audio-only podcast versions of my Movies Merica live episodes, that's my spoiler-free reviews that I do on Sunday, you can go to moviesmerica.com or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, places like that. And then, actually, if you would also check me out on the social media sites like X and Instagram and Facebook and Gab. And I'm on those locations all under @Movies Merica. So it is very easy to find me out there, all right? So get to it, everybody. All right, thanks for watching. Later.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right. Thanks for watching.